Thank you.
That was impressive.
I appreciate it.
Nice job by you. We're ready to have some fun here at Sunken Diamond. We hope you are as well. And it begins with Wallace Clark stepping to the plate as he faces that young man, Joey Volchko. Clouds thickening and darkening here over Sunken Diamond. Rain is on its way here to the Bay Area, but the heavy stuff isn't supposed to arrive until later this evening. Meanwhile, Joey Volchko tried to bring the heat. Roxon deals first pitch, just fouled off by Clark for strike one.
A little bit jammed on that pitch, and that hurts, especially when it's a little chilly out. Doesn't feel so good on the hands.
Bit of a breeze. Looks like it's blowing in as of right now. Clark, 2 for 8 so far in this series. Drove one in on Friday. Slow roller, the net eye. But throw to first. In time for the out. So Clark, who has done quite well, leads Duke in many offensive categories, goes down after just 2 pitches.
Pitching to soft contact, always a good thing as well when you're thinking about the approach on the mound. Of course, the strikeouts, you love to see them, but to let that defense work and get hitters to miss enough to let your defense back you up, it's just the basics right there.
Volchko can rack up the Ks, has 19 of them so far this season, but also has 11 walks on the year as well. As that one bounces away from Som. Jake Berger is the batter now for the Blue Devils. A grad transfer, originally from Boston, transferred to Duke from Harvard. Homered in back-to-back games in the Cornell series last month. Homered once and knocked in 23 for the Crimson last year. Swings and misses on the fastball, 1-1.
Harvard, Duke, Stanford, feels like a battle of the brains right now.
Some guys from Penn in the mix for Duke. Georgetown, Princeton. 1 ball and 1 strike. It's a fastball down low. Now goes to 2-1. Duke came into the season ranked in the top 15, but had a couple of stumbles. Lost their season opening series against Cincinnati. Dropped one a midweek game against Campbell. They're no longer in the top 25. The 2-1 from Volchko. Just misses high, 3-1 the count.
Still receiving some votes in some of the polls nationally. You know, some expectations when you win the ACC tournament last year like they did, second one in program history.
Clap down the line, foul, 3-2. It's Chris Pollard, the head coach of Duke, his 13th year. He's born in Durham. The 3-2 pitch from Volchko. Going outside. Berger is on board. So Berger reaches. And here comes Ben Miller.
You mentioned the 11 walks on the year so far. Now make it 12 for Volchko. The freebies are something that you want to minimize, obviously, if you're Stanford. But for Duke, they're going to need to try to capitalize on everything. Just the sac fly yesterday to bring that 1 run in. They've only scored 2 this weekend.
And Miller cranks this one deep to left center. Back, track, and it lands just shy and bounces over for a ground rule double. Ben Miller with 10 home runs already entering this series. That was tied for second in all Division I behind Alabama's Justin LeBron. For a second, I thought that might have been number 11. It stays in the park and runners in scoring position with 1 out.
I thought it had a chance too, but just a nice job with the hands. That's just gap-to-gap hitting right there. Taking something middle in on the plate and just absolutely driving through the zone with it. Great barrel on that ball.
So Miller with his 3rd base hit of this series. Brings up Jake Hyde. Grad transfer from Darien, Connecticut. Came to Duke from Georgetown. The Blue Devils are trying to strike quickly here. High 3 for 6 so far in this series. Hit a grand slam against Northwestern on March 2nd. The 1-0. Chopper will throw home. And the tag applied there. So the lead runner erased. 2 away. Runners at the corners.
Just heads up, situational awareness there from Haskins. It is a routine play, but the execution so important. Also love the little things like Sam making sure he's applying that tag well, especially without the slide. Don't want to let anything get away from you, especially when you're avoiding letting a run across.
Yeah, David Esker, the head coach of Stanford, says that Trevor Haskins is a fantastic third baseman, maybe the best one-handed fielder on the team. Here's Tyler Albright. Junior from Greensboro, North Carolina. Just in front of that one, fouls it off. 0-1. Albright looking for his first base hit of this series. Second in batting average on Duke with a .314 average. So look at .629 on the season. Does lead the squad with 3 triples. The 0-1 from Volchko. That one was just a little bit low. 1-1.
He's the one who had the sac fly RBI yesterday to get something going for the Duke offense. Opportunity to make something happen with a runner in scoring position.
Meanwhile, Chris Pollard wanted a quick word with home plate umpire Brandon Henson, maybe bringing something to his attention.
It looks like they're moving one of the nets that is set up near the bullpen.
Gotta get all the equipment off the playing field here. Make sure that everything is all set and good to go.
A couple guys from the dugout coming out to help out. Lost the hat, lost the balance there for a little bit, but figuring it out.
Hey, it's a little windy out there, right? Blame them? Nothing to lose your head over, though. Meanwhile, Volchko trying to keep his and get out of the mini jam. Had runners at second and third with 1 out. Reduced high into a fielder's choice. Find a way to retire Albright here.
Now we're getting the hat off the field as well. All equipment, like you said, off the field.
1 ball and 1 strike as we're back to action. With runners at the corners and 2 out. Swing and miss. Volchko changing speeds there. 1 and 2.
Great movement on that pitch. Great location as well, keeping it down in the zone. That double he gave up to Miller was a little bit elevated. Giving the hitters a chance to throw the hands to it, but great location there.
Volchko can rear back and deal up to 95, 97 miles an hour. Slider, good change, and a curve. 1-2 to Albright. Tails 0-1 away. 2 and 2. Blue Devils as a team coming into the day hitting .263. That's 15th in the ACC. In baseball, the ACC has 16 teams. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Roller down the third baseline. Haskins throws. Safe. Miller scores. As Albright legs out the infield single, and the Blue Devils take a 1-0 lead.
You gotta love the hustle. Any way you can. You put the ball in play like that, but the play is not over. Not a whole lot Haskins can do on this. He charged it, threw it on the run. With 2 outs, you're taking off at third base in that situation. You gotta do what you gotta do. Getting on the board early.
So Albright, who drove in just 6 runs last year, adds 1 to his portfolio and drives in his 15th this season. AJ Gracia, sophomore from Monroe, New Jersey, is 0 for 6 so far in this series. Takes one right down the middle for a called strike one. Brandon Henson, the home plate umpire. A.J. Bastaglio, the first base umpire. Adam Dowdy at second. And Matthew Schaefer is at third. Gracia decorated so far in his collegiate career, just 1 year plus in. Was All-ACC third team last year, also made the All-ACC freshman team. And he was on the U.S. Collegiate National team, was teammates with the guy he's facing on the mound right now, Joey Volchko. So I'm sure these two have squared off a time or two before.
Gracia, Kyle Johnson as well from Duke. Scott from Stanford getting some opportunities with the 2024 Collegiate National team.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Change outside, 2-2.
Gracia also another one who was a preseason All-American according to D1 Baseball, alongside Miller.
They're already talking about him for the 2026 Major League Baseball draft. Fouls that one off. A draft that is not going to be contested for another, year and 4 months or so. I don't even know what I'm having for dinner tonight, much less what's going to happen in 16 months. 2 on, 2 out, 2-2. Now the count full. Gracia with a 3-run homer against North Carolina A&T on March 4th. The 3-2 pitch off the fists and then fouled off. As you look at Sunken Diamond, one of the more scenic places for college baseball all throughout the entire country. This is Duke's first visit to this ballpark. First ever series between Duke and Stanford.
First home ACC series for the Cardinal.
This one's lifted to right, drops for a base hit, and it rolls all the way to the wall. 1 run scores. 2-run score. Gracia says Gracias. He'll take the triple and give Duke a 3-0 lead.
Taking advantage of this pitch, down and in, gets the perfect barrel angle on this to get on plane. You see in right field, Reynolds was shaded towards center, so a lot of room over there for him to take 3 bags, but most importantly, to bring in 2. We said Duke was going to bring it today to try to steal one, and they're starting off hot.
Gracia with his first triple of the season. And Duke coming out hot. Andrew Yu. It's the pitch that goes over for a called strike one. Yu, a senior from Nashville, with a solo home run against Cal last week. Series win for the Blue Devils over the Bears in Durham. The 0-1 goes around, 0-2.
I'm always interested to see how pitchers respond to moments like that. When you give up something big, when you give up some runs, what's your reaction going to be to that next hitter? Jumping ahead, a good sign so far.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. So Yu goes down on strikes, but the Blue Devils strike first. An RBI single by Tyler Albright and a 2-run triple by A.J. Gracia. Duke 3. Stanford coming to bat in the bottom of the first. Blue Devils leading Stanford 3-0 as we head to the bottom of the first. A look at the Stanford batting order, which is certainly dangerous from top to bottom. Trevor Haskins with a big series earlier in the year. Rentaro Sasaki hit 2 home runs. You've heard a lot about him. We'll tell you even more about him throughout the course of today's show. But also a couple of freshmen to watch toward the bottom of the lineup in Charlie Bates and Tatum Marsh. They will be facing off against this young man, Ryan Higgins, on the mound for the Blue Devils. Higgins, a senior from New Canaan, Connecticut. Got the start in the outing against Cal on March 8th. Went 3 2/3. Gave up just 1 run. It was earned. Struck out 4. Did not get a decision that day. Higgins hoping for a decision and a team decision in the win column for Duke this afternoon.
Important numbers to look at. You can see what it looks like for the season so far, but in particular, the 17 strikeouts to the 6 walks. That's the kind of ratio that you're looking for in terms of control, command, and trying to get ahead on some of these hitters.
A Stanford team that comes into today's game batting .309 as a team. That's 5th in the ACC. So towards the upper third, upper half of the ACC, and it begins with Trevor Haskins, who swings and misses at the high heat for strike 1. Haskins was red hot. He hit a home run in 5 straight games. All 4 games of a series sweep against the Washington Huskies, then in the opener against Xavier. In between, he got named ACC Player of the Week.
First time a Cardinal hitter had hit a home run in 5 straight games since Brock Jones back in 2022, but I think the consistency overall in hitting as well. He's hit safely in all but 2 games so far this season.
It's been terrific. Pump down low from Higgins. 2-1. Higgins struck out a career-high 6 last year against Florida State. Made 7 starts in the 2024 season. Struck out 54 and 48 in the 3rd innings of work. Haskins cranks this one to left. Back is rounds, and he makes the catch just shy of the track.
Good piece of hitting, positioned really nicely out in left field. Rounds. And I think it's important too, again, it looks like a routine play, but the little things make it even better. The first step going back as an outfielder, not coming in so that you can read that line drive that's straight at you, harder to do than it seems.
Also maybe getting a little bit of help from the weather here somewhat as well. As Brandon Larson steps up to the plate. Junior transfer, originally from Rockland, California. Transferred to Stanford from UC San Diego. During normal conditions here at Sunken Diamond, during day games, especially when the sun is out, you can see the foothills behind the campus, and it's a gorgeous, typical day, the ball can carry out of here. We do not have those kinds of conditions here right now. It's cloudy, it's about to start raining here later on today, so the air is a bit thick, and it's a bit windy too. It's been varying between blowing in, and it looks like right now, blowing from right to left. A 1-1. Swing and a miss on the change. 1-2.
The foothills were always an indication for the softball team back when I played here at Stanford. If you could see them, you were okay in terms of rain and getting the game in. If you couldn't, if it starts to get a little cloudier and cloudier and the visibility isn't there, then you might be in trouble.
Up high, 2-2. Always interesting, the different meteorological tells that you have, different parts of the country.
That was our head coach being a meteorologist, essentially.
They're in progress right now across the street. 2-2. Got him looking. Called strike 3.
Just looking at this location to the lefty in that lower part of the zone on the inner half, but a nice job by you behind the dish to frame that pitch as well, working hard for his pitcher.
Here he is, Rintaro Sasaki, freshman from Japan. Homered twice yesterday in Stanford's 11-1 win over Duke. The first 2 home runs of Rintaro Sasaki's Cardinal career. Swings and misses, a bit crossed up on the first pitch from Higgins.
Seemed like we were waiting forever to say Sasaki bombs, and we finally got it yesterday. But he's another one who's hit safely in most games this year, 13 out of 17. So even if it didn't go out before yesterday, still putting the ball in play.
He's down quickly in the count, 0-2. Against Washington, he singled off the right field wall. Gives you an idea of the kind of pole power, especially that he has, that has made him so famous. The 0-2 to Sasaki. On the ground, the roller, and the throw over to first from Clark, who is shifted and positioned perfectly, makes the throw for out number 3. 3 up, 3 down for the Cardinal in the bottom half of the first. Duke doing damage in the top half as the Blue Devils on top 3-0. Where the experts pick the ACC to finish up by the time league play ends later on this season. Duke, coming off of an ACC tournament championship last year, picked to finish 5th. Stanford picked to finish 8th. Cardinal had a tough year last year. It was a very young team. They had 9 guys get drafted. That'll somewhat make you a young team. Right now, it's the Cardinal with the upper hand over Duke in the ACC standings as Ben Rounds takes strike 1.
And again, this is a conference that has national standing as well. 7 ACC teams out of the 16 in the conference made it in the preseason top 25 national polls as well. So about half the conference is in the top 25 in the nation, just to give a glimpse into how competitive it is.
Of course, you got terrific programs like Florida State, Clemson. The 0-2. And it's fouled off down the third base line. The count stays at 0-2. Now, of course, Stanford coming from the old Pac-12. Yeah, that conference was no slouch either. David Esker fully aware of that. He led Cal to the College World Series in 2011. The great coaching jobs of any sport on the collegiate level in this century.
National Coach of the Year that year for a reason.
Back up the middle, past Becerra, and into center for a base hit. 4th base hit of the afternoon so far for Duke, and they're clicking at the plate.
Waiting on that really nicely. I think that's something we've seen consistently so far from these Duke hitters is timing. They're on time right now going up against Volchko, so they're able to stay relaxed and just explode, throw the hands. They're seeing it well right now.
Here's Jeff Luigi, a freshman from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, shows bunt, lays it down. Haskins handles it well and throws over to first in time. Rounds heads over to second in the transaction.
As much as we love hitting, we also appreciate fundamentals. Getting out of the box quickly to put some pressure on the defense there too, but a successful sacrifice. Again, only a couple of runs. They've already outscored themselves from the last 2 games combined. And it's going to be through manufacturing like that.
Doing a lot of the little things that they either have not done or have not had the chance to do so far for the most part in this series. Back to the top of the order we go. It's Wallace Clark who grounded to second to begin the game. It's a fastball in there, called strike 1. Clark, transfer from the University of Oklahoma. He's originally from Tulsa. He's on the All Big 12 freshman team in 2022. He's actually Oklahoma's starting third baseman in the 2022 College World Series. And Stanford was there too, 2022 as well. The second of 3 consecutive trips to Omaha, the Cardinal.
2023, a special time when both Diamond Sports went to the World Series. Baseball in Omaha, softball in Oklahoma City.
That's down low, 2-1. Duke's trying to get there. They've come close. Lost to Virginia in the Super Regional in 2023, and since then, Chris Pollard, his motto for the program has been kick the door down.
That's right.
And make it to Omaha. In the air to center. Bates, a long way to go, makes the catch on the run. Tagging up over the third. Rounds, 90 feet away.
And out in the books, a lot of ground here. You can see Reynolds shifted towards left field into left center, coming all the way to right center to make that catch, but some nice base running as well to make sure that you're able to advance 90 feet. Makes a difference being just 90 feet away versus being at second base. A lot more options to potentially score with 2 outs.
Jake Berger steps up to the plate. Berger walked in his first plate appearance. Has Rounds at third. Swing and a miss, strike 1 by Berger. Duke's last Men's College World Series appearance, 1961. That's a stat and a factoid that Chris Pollard wants to change as early as this season. Swing and miss, 0-2.
I think a phrase I saw in the notes this week was, since the Kennedy administration. That was the last time for the Duke Blue Devils.
A few things have happened since then.
They've had some other firsts with Chris Pollard at the helm. Like 2 ACC championships, for example.
Volchko steps off for a moment.
In fact, their appearance in the NCAA tournament back in 2016 broke a 55-year drought.
Somm trying to find it, but it doesn't roll far enough away for Rounds to even think about trying to take home.
A lot of room in this backstop here at Sunken Diamond, 70 feet behind home plate, so anything that gets past, got to be on your toes if you're behind the dish.
It's one of the defining characteristics of this ballpark. It can be a pitcher's friend, or it can be a pitcher's nightmare.
I've seen runners score from second on a pass ball or a wild pitch.
I've seen it more often than not. Rounds is going to score easily from third here, as that one is clapped solidly and rolling all the way to the wall. Berger is in with a stand-up double, and the Blue Devils are ahead 4-0.
A little bit elevated in the zone there. You could see Volchko right away. He knew, hoping it was going to go foul, but finding that corner to keep it fair. That's something that Duke is doing a nice job of too. The lefties are getting their hands inside enough to keep the ball fair when they turn on it. And they've capitalized well on that pitch.
So Berger aboard. Volchko trying to find a way out of this. And Ben Miller at the plate. Doubled and scored in the first. First pitch that he saw from Volchko sent a rope to left center. On a couple of hops, Nadai throws over the first in time for the outs. Blue Devils do add one more. It's Jake Berger this time with the RBI double. Duke 4, Stanford nothing. Blue Devils trying to prevent the sweep here today. Bit chilly here at Klein Field at Sunken Diamonds. Duke fans bundled up a little bit on this mid-March afternoon. It's never too chilly to go out and play a little bit and have some fun.
It's one way to stay warm, right?
Well, Duke has been pretty warm at the plate so far. Blue Devils with a 4-0 lead over the Cardinal. Ryan Higgins hoping to keep it that way as he faces the heart of the Stanford order. Beginning with Charlie Somm, veteran catcher. Somm from Thousand Oaks. He's hit a couple of big home runs of late. Somm with the solo home run at North Carolina. The series finale there to break open the scoreless game and help lead to a 7-0 Stanford win. Somm also with the solo home run against Duke on Friday. And that one is ripped, but well foul.
Somm, one of the natural leaders on this Stanford team as well. If you ask head coach David Esker, they don't appoint official captains, but there are some of those natural leaders that emerge, and Somm's definitely one of them. He says he understands the way we do things here, respect for the values and the standards.
Off speed goes over, a little bit of movement on that one. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Higgins. Somm and Ritaro Sasaki have struck up a bit of a kinship there. It's been neat to see. 1-2 pitch. Got him. Swing and a miss. And the throw to first rather, for the putout. Well, you know, it's important to be that for your catcher, right? As you look at the play once again, your catcher has to be a leader and be a guy who brings the team together, right?
Yeah, we just saw a glimpse of that from you as well behind the plate, keeping that ball in front. Ton of movement on it. Finishing the play at first base as well, doing the little things right.
Brings up Jimmy Nadai from Sydney, Australia. You look at a few of his numbers so far this season. Nadai with a team-high 22 doubles for Stanford last year.
He's hit safely in all but 2 games this year, too. Also the last 3 straight. So someone in this Stanford order that might be able to get something going offensively for the Cardinal.
He homered twice in the same inning last year. 2 home runs in the bottom of the 5th against Cal back on April 27th of last season. You don't see that every day.
Especially against a rival.
1 ball, 1 strike. High chopper falls just foul. Down the 3rd baseline. Nadai 2 for 8. Solo home run so far in this series.
Yeah, one of the season high 5 yesterday in the run rule over Duke. 4 different hitters, obviously the 2 from Sasaki, as we mentioned.
This one stays fair. Throw over the first. Time for the out. Miller to Hyde, 2 away.
Higgins just continuing to produce balls that his defense can handle. A long throw, of course, from 3rd base. But again, the weak contact, producing the ground outs, doing his job on the mound. The mustache is next level, I have to say.
Gotta have a strong mustache game. Brady Reynolds, Stanford's team leader in home runs with 6. Slugging percentage was .700. Steps to the plate. Bounces. I think that caromed off of home plate umpire Brandon Henson's chest pad. That's why you wear those things. Reynolds, a sophomore from Bakersfield. He had one of those 5 home runs for Stanford yesterday. 1 for 5 overall this series.
Scored a couple runs. Also has speed, as we've seen in the outfield, so getting on base would be important.
And that one misses you completely.
Me? No, just kidding.
I knew that was coming. How did I know that was coming? I almost did it last time around with you, but no.
Gotta have some fun.
Higgins, the senior, versus Reynolds, the sophomore. Outside corner caught, 2-1.
Not a bad take. Definitely a pitcher's pitch, which means it was a nice location, but if you're ahead 2-0, you're only going after something you really like.
Two balls and 1 strike. Higgins to the plate. Fouls that one off towards the Stanford bench. Duke's infield in a full-on shift with just Miller between 2nd and 3rd. Everybody else, Clark, Berger, and Hyde between 2nd and 1st. Reynolds, the lefty, 1 of 4 in the batting order for the Cardinal. That one floats, just misses down low. 3-2. Larson, Sasaki, and Bates, the other lefties in the order for Stanford.
Miller basically playing what would be normally a straight-up shortstop position as the 3rd baseman. Big gap on that side.
And hits Reynolds.
Not a big enough gap, I guess, there between Reynolds and that ball.
Another look. Ouch.
Never a good feeling, but that's why you wear the protective gear too. It hit it right there on the shin. Still doesn't feel great, but it'll feel better than not having it.
Square on the shin guard. At least you're able to trot to first because you're wearing the shin guard. Here's Timo Becerra from Clovis, California. Buchanan High School, same as Brock Jones, who we shouted out earlier in the show. Becerra 2 for 5 so far in this series. It's both games. In the air, but fouled off from Higgins.
Another one that's hit safely in most games this season, 14 out of 17 so far. It's the kind of consistency that Stanford needs right now. They're trying to get a 2-out rally going.
He had a 14-game hit streak overall that stretched back to last year. Snapped in the 5th game of the season. Let's look at the senior. Higgins checking Reynolds at first. 1 ball and 1 strike. Just in front of that one, 1 and 2.
You said try timing just a touch out. When your head like that, the front side tends to open a little bit, so we saw that yanked foul.
One ball and 2 strikes. Thought about it, didn't go. Meanwhile, Reynolds was practically about halfway there between first and second.
Take another look here. Becerra holds the barrel just enough.
It's close. It's quite close. Andrew Yu is heading over to the Duke dugout, checking out his equipment, his microphone.
And if you noticed, when he was dealing with that tough pitch that was down in the dirt, his mask kind of moved all over the place. And some of the technology is still slightly newer to baseball and softball as well. But the pitch communication, obviously for the battery, one of the most important things, so you got to make sure everything's working.
Well, you got headsets, you got some microphones, you got wristbands, you got the belt buckles sometimes.
Yep. Feels like it never ends now. That's how I know I'm getting older, because I think about it compared to back in my day.
Oh, just you wait. Just you wait. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The pitch won't come. The throw back over the first and Reynolds. When you know you're really getting old is when you start seeing kids pop up on the roster and you go, oh, I watched his dad play here.
I'll let you know when I hit that point.
Okay.
Sounds like it's familiar for you.
Thanks. 2-2. Curveball misses upstairs, count full.
For the record, I said older, not old.
All right. Higgins has gone full count on back-to-back batters now. First time that he had done that so far. In foul territory and out of play.
It's a good at-bat by Becerra, going deep into the count to see more pitches from Higgins. He's been pretty efficient so far leading into this batter that he's facing here. It's been a fairly low pitch count, but Becerra making him work.
3-2 once again. Fouled off. The at-bat. Becerra continues.
That's when, as a hitter, when you have a full count situation like this, there's 2 outs, you just want to be a pest. Anything that's close, either foul it off, get it out of there, even if it's a defensive swing, you just make it difficult for the pitcher.
Just misses. So hit batter, and now a walk, extending the inning for Charlie Bates.
Not a bad location here, but a good take there from Becerra. It can be easy when you know you have to protect, to get a little bit anxious, chase after something, but the discipline stays intact. First couple blemishes we've seen for Higgins really to allow these two base runners on so far.
And perhaps recognizing that, Brady Kirkpatrick, the pitching coach for Duke, makes a slow walk out to the mound, brings the rest of the infield with them. 4-0 Duke with the lead over Stanford. Cardinal took the first 2 games of this series, so that is already in hand for the Cardinal. Duke trying to avoid the sweep and get at least one here at Sunken Diamond before hopping on the flight tonight. Non-stop back to RDU at FSFO. I've been on that flight a few times over the last couple of months.
It's a new bi-coastal ACC life. This is actually the 3rd longest trip in program history for Duke. The longest in conference play, of course, within the ACC. An element to get used to in this new era of realignment, although the West Coast schools like Stanford and Cal have to do it quite a bit more often.
Stanford's already been to North Carolina. 4 road trips back east to come. Charlie Bates, the freshman from Palo Alto, went to high school right across the street, Palo Alto High School. Swings and misses. The off-speeder, 0-1. Bates' first career hit was a triple at Cal State Fullerton back on February the 15th. No balls and 1 strike. Swing this again. And for all the attention that Rintaro Sasaki has received, and rightfully so, given his story and his skill set, Charlie Bates and Tatum Marsh, 2 other freshmen who have been starting since day 1 this season and have made terrific impacts. The 0-2. Looks at this one, 1-2.
Good idea, even better take there. And that's something that David Esker talked about too. It's difficult to be a good freshman. It is not easy to then make that transition to this level in collegiate baseball. But they've done a really nice job.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Ryan Higgins, a couple bumps in the road, but digs deep and gets out of the jam with his 3rd strikeout of the afternoon. 4-0 Duke after 2. Durham-born Chris Pollard, the head coach of Duke baseball, has to be happy with what he's seen from his squad so far today, with the Blue Devils ahead 4-0. A bit more information on him to the left of your screen. His 13th year, his 21st season overall as a collegiate head coach.
And a big moment this season, actually became the winningest coach in program history, passing the legendary Jack Coombs. 382 wins. That was against Cornell earlier this season. A lot of program records have been under his guidance as well, including the 3 Super Regionals appearances.
The opposite dugout, David Esker, head coach from Stanford, 3-time Pac-12 Coach of the Year. Helped lead Stanford to a national championship during his playing days here on the farm. In the air to left, Marsh. Coming in a few steps. Makes the catch for the first out. David Esker, as you look at the replay, with Marsh having that one under control the whole time. Esker in his 7th year as the head coach here at Stanford. He was an assistant at Stanford as well from 1991 to 96. Stanford class of 87. As the first pitch to Tyler Albright is upstairs and outside for ball 1.
Got that national championship playing under Mark Marquis, also known as 9, during his long tenure here at Stanford. But interesting always to see some coaches go to their rival schools. 18 years at Cal, like you said, Troy, before coming back to his alma mater here at Stanford, but not uncommon between the 2 athletic departments.
No, that's kind of been going around here a little bit, especially of late, it seems. 3-0 the count, meanwhile, to Albright, who delivered an RBI single to give Duke a 1-0 lead in the top of the first. Three balls and no strikes. Catches the outside corner, of course. Troy Taylor, the head Stanford football coach, the former Cal quarterback. Mark Madsen, the current Cal men's basketball coach, the former Stanford great. Sharman Smith, the current Cal women's basketball coach, a former Stanford great herself. A hard hop. Becerra up with it, throws over the first, 2 away.
Really important for Volchko to get these 2 outs quickly here in the 3rd inning. Being able to score for the Blue Devils back-to-back innings, you start to get some momentum, but if you can put a little bit of a stop to it by producing grounders, fly balls for your defense, that's what you're looking for.
AJ Gracia with the biggest hit of the afternoon so far. His 2-run triple in the first. Yeah, can you imagine coaches going back and forth between Duke and North Carolina? I'm told those 2 schools don't like each other too much. But somehow I doubt that same dynamic is at work on the 15-501. Gracia's got his 2nd base hit of the day. He goes opposite field.
It's a nice piece of hitting right there. If you take another look at him going opposite way, you know, hits that triple, gets the extra bases, shows a little bit of pop, but then just keeping it simple the 2nd time around, not trying to do too much. Again, just throwing the hands and letting the pitch work for him.
First-team freshman All-American, according to the NCBWA, and a perfect game last year. Andrew Yu struck out swinging to end the first. Volchko steps off. He has dealt 51 pitches so far. 2 2/3 innings of work. Volchko, 1 walk and 1 strikeout along the way.
What the rivalries are always interesting too, Troy, back to your point. Just think about Stanford taking the series from North Carolina. Duke took the series from Cal. And here these 2 teams are now facing each other. Might have been happy with each other last week. Now you're the enemy.
Well, and speaking of which, Stanford Cal here at Sunken Diamond this upcoming weekend.
Classic.
2 balls, no strikes. Swing and a miss. 2-1. Of course, Stanford and Cal just met in men's basketball the other day on Wednesday in the ACC men's basketball tournament. Short-handed Bears were game, but Stanford just had just a little bit more. They were able to advance to the quarterfinal round. They lost on a heartbreaker to Louisville at the buzzer on Thursday. So it was great to bring the Bay CC
Nice.
to Charlotte in the conference tournament last week.
Well done.
The 2-1 to Sasaki, gloves it. Versus field, tags the bag for the out. 2.5 innings in the book. Duke still with a 4-0 lead over Stanford with the Cardinal coming to bat in the bottom of the 3rd.
Ryan Higgins doing a nice job of keeping the Cardinal bats at bay here in the Bay. 3 strikeouts on the day so far and 2 innings of work. Just the 1 walk did allow a couple of base runners on, but able to strand them with the strikeout back in the 2nd inning. He's off to a really nice start.
He's been effective for the most part to this point in the ball game. Tatum Marsh will be the first batter that he faces here in the bottom of the 3rd, and that will complete Higgins' first time through the order. The Blue Devils lead the Cardinal 4-0. Great to have you with us, Troy Clarity, Jenna Becerra, and our wonderful ACC Network extra crew. Glad that you've decided to join us here on this Sunday afternoon. Tatum Marsh, the freshman from San Jose, just down the road. Just makes enough contact to foul it off for strike 1. Marsh with a home run and 2 driven in yesterday. 3 for 6 with a home run and 3 RBI all told this series. And hits him.
I'm laughing because I was about to say, you know, he's gotten on base in a lot of different ways this weekend. He was hit by a pitch on Friday, and then here you go. Here it is again. Right in the elbow. No guard, though. He's going old school.
He's braver than I am.
Just above the actual bone, at least, so it got a little bit more meat. Feels a little bit better. It's a not so funny bone, otherwise.
Back to the top of the order, it's Trevor Haskins at the plate. Flew out deep to left. Bottom of the first. Pops this one straight up. You trying to find it. Does he have enough room? No. That bounces just literally off to our left here.
Talked about how much room there is in this backstop. 70 feet, not quite enough. So instead, it's a strike and another life here.
Higgins has now dealt first pitch strikes to 8 of the 10 batters that he has faced so far. Haskins going down in the count, 0-1. Go back to first, 1 ball and 1 strike. Of course, you know, we mentioned the ACC men's basketball tournament. We'd be remiss if we did not congratulate the Duke Blue Devils for winning all the marbles in Charlotte yesterday, holding off Louisville. And so now Duke will find out where it's going in about an hour or so. It's Selection Sunday. Close play over at first. Marsh is just in safely.
Ooh, Hyde wanted that one. Yeah, he's calling for the video review. It's a nice move by Higgins and a nice tag by Hyde over there.
Talking it over. And we'll go over and take a look. We'll show you what we have, as Marsh did kind of feint in that direction. And with the reach back, the tag by Hyde, very, very close.
The throw did beat him, right? But does the tag beat him is obviously the question and what they're going to be focused on. Does his hand get in there on the side of the base?
Umpires looking at the angles. Marsh hoping that the call on the field stands.
And important to note, the umpires have more angles than we might even have
Yes.
on TV. The DV Sports setup that there is around Sunken Diamond here, they're able to see multiple angles to help them make their decision. And of course, that's why the call on the field matters initially, because you have to see enough evidence to overturn.
Super close, as you
Very
see
close.
on right of your screen. Is there enough there to overturn? Here's probably our best, closest look that we can show you.
It's his right hand, the view blocked slightly by the foot of Hyde. That's what you're curious. Did his fingers get in there before the glove actually touched his arm? That's where the tag is applied.
Is there anything definitive
Right
enough
there
to overturn the call? My suspicion is that there is not.
Not enough to overturn it. Again, because that initial call was already made the way it was.
But again, a reminder, folks, that our opinions up here are not the official ones.
Well, and I would argue that even if you were called out, I don't know if you could overturn it. I don't know if there's enough evidence either way. So that's why I keep harping on that first initial call.
Sun is actually starting to peek out here for a few moments. Right now it's Sunken Diamond. Jen is reaching for the shades.
I am Sunken Diamond, actually now.
And it can make a big difference temperature-wise when the sun is out here. And the call on the field stands.
I think that makes sense, but you know what? If you're Duke, I don't mind them wanting to take another look at that because
Not
it
at all.
was so close.
Not at all. Higgins keeping calm throughout all the proceedings. And Haskins about to face the 1-1 pitch from Higgins. There's another close play back over there.
Really keeping an eye over there on Marsh,
who's only tried to steal one base so far this year. It's not successful. Off speeder, which is where Higgins has seemed to do much of his best work, but that misses low and outside.
They're likely keeping a close eye over at first as well, because you could argue this is the biggest opportunity that Stanford has had so far. Runner on, no outs. Last time they got runners on, there were already 2 outs. So trying to keep things under control.
Marsh scampers back in yet again. Stanford has not had a base hit so far. A couple hit batters, no walk. So they're the only folks who have reached for Stanford so far. Swing and a miss. Haskins crossed up there, 2-2.
Clean defense from Duke so far as well. They haven't had a clean bill of health in that category the past couple of games, an error apiece. It's a key to success as well.
Haskins launches this one deep to left. Doesn't have enough. Gone! Trevor Haskins, home run! And Stanford cuts Duke's lead in half.
Well, Marsh doesn't have to worry about staying on first base after that one. Absolutely launched into the trees in left field. A solid at-bat to see pitches up to that point and not be distracted by them trying to pick off over at first base. Staying focused. Haskins adding to the home run party this weekend.
And the celebration is on at the Stanford dugout. Haskins with his 6th home run of the season, putting him in the tie for the team lead with Brady Reynolds. That'll do it for Higgins. Blue Devils will turn to reinforcements from the bullpen. Looks like it's going to be Edward Hart coming into the game. We'll tell you about him in just a moment or so. Duke scored the first 4 runs of the game, but Trevor Haskins putting one over the left field fence, making it a 4-2 ball game, trying to add more. Brian Higgins works 2+, hits a batter, then gives up a home run, and then gives way to Edward Hart, a junior from San Antonio, Texas. Hart threw 2/3 in relief on Friday. Gave up a couple hits and struck out 1 along the way. Threw a season-high 21 pitches against Cal last Saturday, ending in the 3rd of scoreless innings against the Bears. Now he's going to try to keep Stanford off the board for the rest of the way here in this frame. Won't be easy, as the first batter he faces is Brandon Larson, who swings and misses for strike 1.
And part of this move might have to do with 2 lefties due up with Larson and Sasaki back-to-back, wanting the lefty-lefty matchup.
In the air to center, and dropping in front of Gracia. Larson is aboard.
Just enough to get that out into the outfield. Keeping it simple. It's easy to get a little anxious, overswing a bit when you see a teammate go yard. But I like how Larson kept it simple there.
Brings up Rentaro Sasaki, grounded to short to end the first. Waves around it this one, 0-1. Sasaki reached base in 14 straight games. Start the season, joined the Stanford program about a year ago, but did not play in the season. Got acclimated in the classroom and with the program as well. Fouled off. No balls and 2 strikes.
And if you take a look at the defense from Duke, really shifted once again. You have 3 infielders to the right of second base if you're looking out at the field. Third baseman Miller playing more of a straight up shortstop.
Nothing in 2. Takes that one, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Sasaki's first 2 home runs of his collegiate career. Of course, plenty of interest across the Pacific. I'm told that the first home run ball has been retrieved. However, there might be some negotiations. that's what I believe I was told before the game.
We were told that one went 390 feet yesterday. But I would argue now, not just interest in the Pacific, the Atlantic too, here in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Sure, yes. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Down the first base line, and that one veers foul. Tide was all over that one to try to make the play. David Esker says that, look, it's not a God-given right that they drop you on a college diamond and you get to be great.
Right.
It's a process, and everybody involved realizes that. The 1-2 pitch, hit high and deep, right center field, drifting back and caught at the track. That ball went about 370 feet. Just didn't have enough, despite the oohs and ahs from the crowd. 1 away.
That is up, really above the zone, and he gets on plane with it. You heard the collective sigh from the Stanford fans as that one was caught at the warning track. Of course, Larson happened to make his way all the way back to first as well. And we saw quite a bit of that before his first 2 official home runs yesterday.
Yep. Here's Charlie Som. Som struck out to begin the 2nd inning. Takes the first pitch slightly high from Edward Hart for ball 1. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. There's certainly a buzz in the building whenever that young man steps up to the plate. As this one's hit to center, ranging over Gracia, reaches out and makes the grab. Almost had to go gadget arms to make that catch on the run.
It was a great job, a great jump, a great read on that. If you take a look, it comes off the barrel and off the bat pretty quickly. Doesn't have a ton of time, but he keeps the feet moving, keeps the arms moving, and extends right at the end, so he doesn't have any wasted movement as he's trying to cover that ground. Really well done.
Look at Jimmy Nadai. Grounded out to third, back in the 2nd. 1 on, 2 out. Tying outside to Nadai. From Edward Hart from San Antonio. Alamo Heights High School. A couple Texas kids on the roster for Duke. Reed Easterly, fellow pitcher. Grad transfer, originally from Katy, Texas, just outside of Houston. Came to Duke from Yale. Owen Proch, another lefter, and another pitcher from South Lake, Texas, in the Metroplex. The 2-0. High to left, going over rounds, still going, and tries to make the sliding grab and foul ground, but can't quite get there.
A long strike at the end of the day, but got to appreciate the effort out there by Rounds. A ton of ground that he had to cover. Shifted a little bit, but another life here.
So everyone retakes their respective positions. Takes it outside, 2-2.
Nice job by Hart so far. Inherited a runner over at first and has been able to produce 2 outs.
High, count 4. Oh, no, that was ball 4.
Right on cue for the broadcaster's jinx.
That's not it. Brady Reynolds was hit by a pitch in his last plate appearance back in the 2nd inning. He comes on with 2 on and 2 out and 2 in for the Cardinal here in the bottom of the 3rd. Waits on this one and takes it for ball 1. Reynolds coming into this game batting .350. Had a team-high 6 home runs, but he is now his company. Close play at second as Larson is able to get back in safely. But Reynolds now no longer the sole placeholder atop the Stanford home run category as Trevor Haskins connected for his 6th just a few minutes ago. Check swing, bouncing, foul. Brady Reynolds probably exhales after that ball bounces foul.
Never thrilled when it's sort of an excuse me swing, but still hustling down the line just in case.
Larson at second. There he is, bottom left of your screen. Jimmy Nati at first. Opposite field, base hit. Larson being given the green light. Nati heads into 3rd, and it's an RBI double for Brady Reynolds. Duke's lead cut to 1. It's 4-3.
The lefty on lefty matchup here goes the way of the Cardinal. Reynolds going opposite field and finding that spot where it can trickle down the line, given enough time for not only a run to come across, but for Nati to advance all the way to 3rd base.
Well, Reynolds has come up with some big hits for Stanford so far this season. The 2-run home run in the top of the 9th against Cal State Fullerton to cut the Titans' lead to 7-5 on February 17th. Stanford won that game in extras. Duke in the lead for now, but in danger of losing that lead, as the Cardinal have the go-ahead run at second, and the Blue Devils turn into their 3rd different pitcher of this inning. Gabe Nard taking the mound for Duke. Gabe Nard about to face the 8th different batter for Stanford here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Nard, a junior from Shaker Heights, Ohio, just outside of Cleveland. Saw him for an inning and 2/3 in relief against Stanford on Friday. First pitch to Timo Becerra, low and inside for ball 1. Becerra walked in the 2nd. 2-run home run for Trevor Haskins, RBI double for Brady Reynolds, and a fly ball to right here. Albright on the move, off of his glove, and in play. Reynolds scores. Nati scores. And Timo Becerra's all the way over at 3rd. Stanford has taken the lead.
Going with this pitch, just a touch under it, but a long way to go for Albright in right field, just off the tip of his glove and no hesitation around the base paths. The lead now belonging to Stanford for the first time in this one.
2-run triple for Timo Becerra. Charlie Bates. It's that pitch down low for ball 1. Nard got the win against Cornell on February 23rd when he threw 2 scoreless in relief. Slow roll and it goes foul. Count goes to 1-1.
When you give up a big inning like Stanford did, giving up 3 runs in the first, it helps when you have a big inning yourself offensively to have that crooked number up here with 5 in the third. They've now batted around the order. Some adjustments being made the second time through the lineup. That's exactly what you want to see. And now onto the third pitcher for the Duke Blue Devils.
Well, and when this frame began, we were praising Ryan Higgins for being efficient.
Yep.
Getting through batters relatively quickly, and then he hit Tatum Marsh to begin the frame, and then Trevor Haskins put one over the left field fence, and that was it for him. Swing and a miss, strike 2.
Such a game of adjustments. So when you see that from the first time through the order where there were 3 strikeouts, and then you go through the second time of the order, and all of a sudden you're putting bat on ball, but also finding the gaps. It's exactly what you're looking for if you're David Esker.
Meanwhile, if you're Duke, you're just looking for a way out of this.
Yep, stop the bleeding.
In play, charging, and shoveling it over the first. Berger to Hyde, retires the side. But the Cardinals strike back. 5 big ones in the bottom half of the third. A 2-run shot by Trevor Haskins and a 2-run triple by Timo Becerra, the biggest hits, giving Stanford a 5-4 lead. Stanford, the 18th ranked team in the country in the D1 baseball top 25, the most recent one. Here's a look at your top 10, well populated by ACC teams. Plenty of conference representation, 11 through 20 as well. Stanford number 18.
Wake Forest at 14, 5 and 6, Florida State, North Carolina.
So the conference, of course, looking to accomplish greatness once again this college baseball season. Stanford with a 5-run bottom of the third. They now lead Duke 5-4 as Round sends this one off the fists and into left for a base hit. Rounds is now 2 for 2.
This one in a little bit on the hands, but he's able to get the barrel through enough, poke it through the infield. Takes advantage of Becerra being shifted up the middle a touch. Exactly the base runner that they need right now.
As Jeff Luigi steps to the plate, Joey Volchko now working with a lead, which has not been the case for much of this game. Jenna, what potentially changes here for Joey Volchko now that he does have the lead here?
More on the mental side than the physical side. You automatically gain a little bit of confidence and energy from your team. Seeing the offense have your back, put some runs on the board. Having a lead's always got to feel good as a pitcher. It just makes you want to do it for your teammates even more as well. So all it does is elevate everyone on the defensive side.
The 0-1 to Luigi. Swings through the fastball to throw over the first. Sasaki had to range over and make the catch, allowing Rounds to get back in safely.
That was an athletic move over there by Sasaki, having his catcher's back. Talk a lot about his hitting, as we should, right? But he really plugged the 3-4 hole earlier, taking a play himself at first base. He moves to his left there to save runners from advancing.
Pitch up high. Makes it 1-2. Yeah, Sasaki listed 6'0", 275. That's got some size to move around as well. 1 ball and 2 strikes. In the air and fouled off. As a fan has it glance off the heel of his hand, the palm of his hand, I should say.
This were banana ball would have cost Stanford an out. Sold out a football stadium recently, I saw the Savannah Bananas did.
They're entertaining. Just misses a little high and a little outside as well. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I remember asking David Esker last year or the year before what his thoughts were on the Savannah Bananas and just that sort of entertainment side of baseball. And he said, I think it's fun. There's a place for that kind of baseball within the larger world of baseball. It's different, but why not entertain people?
Fly ball, left field, Marsh. Just in fair ground, one gone. Well, and at its heart, baseball's supposed to be fun, right?
Yes.
It's supposed to be a fun game. You're supposed to have fun out there.
Yes. There's no crying in baseball, but there is a lot of laughing in baseball if you let it.
Back to the top of the order. There's Wallace Clark. 0 for 2 so far today for Duke. Joey Volchko with first pitch strikes to 9 of the first 18 batters he has faced. 9 of 19. Volchko went 5 1/3 shutout innings against North Carolina last Saturday. It was terrific. Inside 2-0.
Pitching staff in general showing a lot of energy after they took that series in North Carolina. To do it on the road as well, Keenan also came in, nice relief appearance. O'Haron, the closer, finishing it out the last inning.
Yeah, Stanford became the first ACC team to shut out North Carolina in Chapel Hill in 6 years.
Yes.
So I'm sure that was a happy plane flight back from RDU back to SFO for Stanford.
And the first road shutout for Stanford since 2022, so in 3 years as well, and that was at South Carolina last time.
Count's gone to 3-1. The 3-1 pitch to Wallace Clark. Wrote to right. Base hit and rolling all the way to the corner. Reynolds finally gets there. Meanwhile, rounding third and scoring easily. An RBI double by Wallace Clark, and we're tied at 5.
Duke continuing to take advantage of that space down the line in that right field corner. The lefties turning on the pitch well. Motoring around is Rounds. A big moment right there to tie it up, but that's why him getting on base initially to start off this inning for the Blue Devils was so important to set it up for Clark to do just that.
Yep. The 2 batter in Duke's order now is Jake Berger, who has walked and has hit an RBI double so far today. With Ben Miller in the on-deck circle. Miller can certainly turn this game around completely with one swing of the bat with his 10 home runs heading into this series. Jake Berger, his dad Dave rode at Harvard. Harvard transfer. No balls and 1 strike. Of course, folks around here call Harvard the Stanford of the East.
That is true. Again, it feels like a battle of the brains in a lot of ways. The academic prowess of both of these institutions between Duke and Stanford, coast to coast.
Strike 2 called. Volchko, the sophomore from Visalia, California, out in the San Joaquin Valley. With Clark at second. On the ground to second. Throw over to first from that eye to Sasaki. 2 away, with Clark advancing to third. That brings up Ben Miller. Miller, all ACC first team last year. Probably all ACC mustache team, too.
I was going to say.
He homered in 5 straight games earlier this season.
ACC honorable mustache.
I like that. Let's get that to Charlotte's stat. Bouncing, fair territory. Haskins throws on the move and retires to the side. But an RBI double by Wallace Clark ties the game at 5 apiece. Stanford picking up the bats in the bottom half of the 4th. Cruising up 4-0, and then the bottom of the 3rd happened. Trevor Haskins with his 6th home run of the year, making it 4-2. Brady Reynolds driving in another with an RBI double. Stanford got closer, then they finally broke through. Timo Becerra, a 2-run triple, giving Stanford at that point a 5-4 lead. Big innings, somewhat commonplace for the Cardinal this season. That one gave them a 5-4 lead. Duke answered with a run of its own in the top half of the 4th. So we're tied as the 5th inning, check that as the bottom of the 4th inning begins.
And this is how that rally began back in the 3rd as well. Marsh led off. He was hit by a pitch, ended up coming around to score on that home run by Haskins. I think it's important to note that 1 through 9 production in that 5 spot that they put up in that 3rd inning as well. The home run at the top of the order, you mentioned the double and the triple from Reynolds and Becerra in 6-7. They needed everybody, and everybody executed. They'll need that now.
It's a good breaking ball that catches the zone, and the count goes to 2-2 with Gabe Nard on the mound for the Blue Devils. 3rd different pitcher for Duke so far today. Began with Ryan Higgins, who looked terrific. Still hitting Tatum Marsh to begin the bottom half of the 3rd, and then serving up the home run to Haskins. Higgins finishes 2+, 1 hit, 2 runs, both earned, 1 walk and 3 strikeouts. High chop to short. Clark handles it easily, 1 away. Hart, 2/3 of an inning, 2 hits, 3 runs all earned, with 1 walk. Now it's Nard on the mound for the Blue Devils. We go back to the top of the order. We showed you what happened the last time he was at the plate. It was a 2-run home run that put Stanford on the board. Haskins also hit one deep to left back in the 1st inning. So he has given a couple of baseballs a good ride so far in this one. Count 2-0 to Haskins, who has gained 1 inch and 11 pounds from last season. Haskins now listed as 6'1", 194. As Nard is staying away from Haskins in a big way, and quite honestly, I don't blame him.
Seen the power on display, that 329 average, 629 slugging, OPS over 1. Helps when you get on base as well. It's going to be over 400 OBP now.
So Haskins takes first, with Brandon Larson coming to the plate. Larson singled and scored in the 3rd. The sun has left us for the moment at Sunken Diamond. Dark clouds now hovering over the ballpark. Should remain relatively dry throughout the remainder of this one. The rain isn't supposed to arrive here in the Bay Area until later on this evening.
You can still see a little bit of blue in between the clouds here at Sunken Diamond, so that gives us hope.
Brady Kirkpatrick, the Duke pitching coach, is headed out to the mound. Coming into this game, Duke's team ERA was 5.07. That was 13th in the ACC as you look at the Blue Devil bullpen with Ryan Calvert. I believe going to start some warm-up tosses. Yes. Calvert, a righty from Maryland. But Blue Devils have gotten off to a disappointing start compared to what their expectations were, and pitching has not been a friend to Duke so far. 13th in team ERA, 15th in team WHIP entering today in the ACC, and 11th in strikeout to walk ratio.
And obviously when it's on, you give yourself a much better chance. The last 2 games in that Cal series, when they were able to take the series from the Bears, it was a 1.59 collective ERA. And that just shows what big a difference it makes when your pitchers are feeling good, executing well.
One ball and no strikes to Brandon Larson. Now 21. Fully realizing that the object of the game is to score more runs than the other team. Quite honestly, though, you only go as far as your pitching takes you.
Yes. That also means reducing how many runs that the other team can score.
Reaches out and sends that one just foul. Well, the shift was on, and Brandon Larson almost beat it.
Looked close from our vantage point here in the press box.
So we'll do it all over again.
Matthew Schaefer was all over it, though, over at third base.
He has the better vantage point than we do, so we'll defer to him.
Sure does.
The 1-2 pitch. Lined right to Miller. Glances off his glove. That's a base hit. Haskins holds up at second. Larson's aboard with his second base hit of the day.
Nice job by Larson. He goes to that way once, but then he goes even harder with a nice shot off the glove at third base of Miller. So actually able to get even more of that ball, the middle of the center of the ball, to hit it hard and through the infield.
All right, stop whatever you're doing and watch. Here comes Rintaro Sasaki. There he is. Sent one to deep right center that was caught on the track. His last plate appearance in the third. He calls time. 2 on and 1 out.
Tied his career high in 4 RBIs yesterday, too. Of course, home runs are going to help you towards that cause.
Takes that one inside, ball 1.
But he hits 324 overall this season, but 455 with runners in scoring position.
You'll take that. And launches this one to right center field. Going back, track, whoa, gone! Nate, Shimata. Rintaro Sasaki with the home run. And the Cards are back in the lead.
Saki, bomb. Making you pay with runners on base right over the heart of the plate. He times this perfectly. Absolutely explodes and unleashes to hit the netting right in front of that scoreboard. He's adding to it while he's at it.
And Sasaki with the celebration with his 3rd home run over the last 2 days. 2 yesterday and 1 here this afternoon. A go-ahead home run that puts the Cards ahead 8-5. And in all likelihood ends Gabe Nard's day. So the pitching change forthcoming. Blue Devils trying to keep Stanford within sight. Ryan Calvert next up for Duke on the mound. More on him in a moment with Stanford ahead 8-5. Rintaro Sasaki going deep. Rintaro Sasaki's 3-run home run giving Stanford an 8-5 lead here in the bottom of the 4th. And it's the 4th different pitcher for Duke this afternoon. Ryan Calvert. Grad transfer, came to Duke via UNC Wilmington. He actually pitched against his former team back on February the 18th and threw 2 scoreless and got the win against the Seahawks that day. Now he's going to be tasked with trying to keep Stanford at bay. Card quiet early, allowed Duke to score the first 4 runs. Charlie Somm sends that one down in fair territory. Ben Miller with the terrific rolling throw, got him! Holy smokes!
What a play by Miller. Sells out. First of all, he's in foul territory, but it's smart to keep that ball down. Let it bounce to your first baseman. It gets there more quickly. And you can see in the replay, just in time, less than half a step right there. Excellent defense.
Ben Miller, yeah, Ben Miller just robbed Charlie Somm without a gun. Here's Jimmy Nadai, who walked and scored in the third. Floats over for a called strike one. Is it the stash? Does it give Ben superpowers?
I think so. I think so. Well, now he can't get rid of it. So he's stuck with it.
No turning back now. Swing and a miss, 0-2 to Nadai. See, Ben has the look. He can pull it off. If I tried a handlebar mustache, it would not work at all.
Same with me, if it makes you feel better.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Nadai.
Actually curious what product he uses on it to keep it so curled perfectly. After diving too. Staying in place.
It's an NIL opportunity if there ever was one. Nadai holds up, checks a swing, 2-2. Calvert, ready. Tails low and outside, count full. Calvert transferred from UNC Wilmington this past offseason, actually helped lead the Seahawks to the NCAA Regionals in Athens. 3-2. Launched, way back, and out of here. Jimmy Nadai puts that one in orbit. And the Card Bats have woken up. 9-5 Stanford.
Goodbye, Nadai. Absolutely launched this one. Took it right over the heart of the plate and out of here in a hurry. Some tree-on-tree crime, as I like to say, as he goes into the trees out there in left field. Holding on to the bat for a while. He knew it right off of it.
Nadai with the solo shot at North Carolina on March 7th. And hits his 4th home run of the season here. Brady Reynolds with an RBI double in the 3rd, was also hit by a pitch in the 2nd. Thinks about it, doesn't go for it, catches the outside corner. 0-2 to Reynolds.
Of course, it was a season high, 5 home runs yesterday, already at 3 right now for the Cardinal here in Game 3.
And again, the conditions here at Sunken Diamond today, not necessarily conducive to the ball jumping out of here in a hurry.
Right. Also at sea level here at Stanford on campus, it's not like there's a lot of elevation here that sort of helps it fly.
This one popped almost straight up, drifting shallow left. Clark sets his feet and makes the catch for the final out of the inning. But the Cards do more damage. 2 home runs, 1 by Nadai and a 3-run Sasaki bomb. Cards ahead 9-5. A 9-5 lead for Stanford as we begin the 5th inning, and David Esther turning to his bullpen for the first time today. That's Torrin O'Haron from Rockland, California. He's on the NCBWA's Stopper of the Year watch list. He's been effective not much of the season, including throwing 2 scoreless in relief at Cal State Fullerton back on February the 16th.
Also the closer in that final win, 7-0 over number 4 North Carolina at the time last week in Chapel Hill. Saw him getting fired up on social media if you were following along with that series.
And by and large, the Stanford bullpen has been able to do the job. I mean, look, Stanford came into this series with 6 comeback wins, and you don't do that. Everyone can focus on what you need to do offensively to get back into games and eventually overtake teams, but you're not having comeback wins unless your bullpen is keeping you within sight.
So I like the name of that watch list for that award, Stopper of the Year, because that's what you're doing. You're stopping the bleeding sometimes. And that list, by the way, nationally, 76 relief pitchers throughout the U.S., and that's what both O'Haron and Moore, Trevor Moore, actually made that list ahead of the season.
So Trevor Moore in relief for a couple innings on Friday. We have O'Haron now with Jake Hyde at the plate. Hyde 0 for 2. Took the first pitch from O'Haron up high for ball 1. Rockland, California, just outside of Sacramento. Same hometown as Brandon Larson, also on the Stanford squad. Tagged and skied well foul. 1 ball and 1 strike to Jake Hyde. Hyde from Georgetown. He began his collegiate career. In fact, he is Georgetown's all-time home run leader, hitting 48 for the Hoyas during his days at Foggy Bottom. That's up high. 2-1.
This is a Duke team that has some power themselves. Last year in 2024 was second season in a row they broke the home run record as a squad, 115. Also a single game record of 11 home runs back in 2024.
Made it to the regionals, bowed out in Norman, Oklahoma last season. Made it to the Supers the year before. Bit of a rebound after not qualifying for the ACC tournament at all in the 2022 season. 3 balls and 1 strike to Hyde. On the ground on a couple of hops to Nadai. 1 away.
It's a nice job by O'Haron to come in and produce that grounder right away for his defense. The thing you want to do as a pitcher is not stop your own team's momentum either. And they got that built up after that 4-run fourth. So to come out right away and keep it on your side is important for the mental side of it.
Especially because momentum can be such a fleeting thing, right? I mean, Duke had all of it going into the bottom of the third, and not anymore. Tyler Albright. Opposite field, plunking it down. Duke has been killing the Cardinal in that right field corner as it gets away from Reynolds. Albright still going. And he's in safely at third. Well, you can't swallow the elephant whole. You got to take it 1 bite at a time, and this could be a big bite for Duke.
Nice piece of hitting going the opposite way, too. We've seen some lefties turn on it, but this time the right-hander. But with that bobble out in right field, you're the last line of defense in the outfield, so that does give him time to get all the way to third base. Even thought about potentially going for home plate. Now just 90 feet away from chipping away here.
Scored a double and an error on the right fielder Reynolds. A.J. Gracia, a 2-run triple in the first and a single in the third. So he has been a very pesky bat for the Blue Devils this afternoon. Gracia against Cornell on February 22nd. He drove in 4 runs via 2 RBI singles, a solo home run, and was hit by a pitch with the bases loaded. So just about every way possible you could drive in a run, AJ found a way that day against Cornell. Including a rather painful one, get hit by a pitch with the bases loaded.
It's a painful way to get an RBI. He'll take one for the team, quite literally.
Yep. One ball and 1 strike. Shot down the first base line, but just rolls foul. 1-2.
Got a quick glimpse of right field, so you see Reynolds still shaded a little bit towards right center field. Bates in center. Slightly towards left center, so there's still that room down that right field line.
O'Haron on the mound for the Cardinals, facing Gracia. A little high, a little outside. Saw him trying to frame it just a little bit. 2-2. O'Haron has been a stalwart in the Stanford bullpen. Aiden Keenan has fared well. Foul tip into the glove. That's strike 3.
It's a nice pitch. The execution there, but way to hang on to it by Son back there. That's a veteran move. It's harder than it looks as a catcher to hang on to those foul tips, but ever important, especially when you got that runner over at third.
And especially when you got 70 feet behind you.
Correct.
For foul. Andrew Yu is 0 for 2. With a runner at third and 2 out. Duke trying to answer Stanford's big 4th inning. First pitch fastball in there for a called strike 1 on Yu. From Nashville, Tennessee, went to Emsworth School. Emsworth is a rival school of Montgomery Bell Academy, which is the prep school of Stanford starting pitcher Christian Lim. We saw him yesterday. The ball's in 1 strike. This is 1-1. So Emsworth versus Montgomery Bell. That's kind of a big deal back in the 615 area code. You've got that to a lesser extent here today. Although Yu went 0 for 3 yesterday, so it seems like Montgomery Bell got the upper hand on Emsworth yesterday.
Duke's already out-hit themselves from yesterday. They're actually out-hitting Stanford. They had 5 hits yesterday, already 9 today to Stanford's 7. Cardinal have just had those timely hits that they've been able to stack.
Count goes to 2-2 after the swing and the miss. Yeah, Duke doing so many things better in this game than it had on Friday and Saturday, but you look at the scoreboard, you're still down 4 runs.
They scored in 3 out of 4 innings. You know, this isn't a negative thing by any means. They just need to chip away. But a lot of game left.
And keep Stanford off the board. Full count now to Yu. Andrew has a birthday coming up in exactly 1 week from today, so you've still got a few shopping days left. O'Haron hopes to deal Yu a lump of coal here. 3-2 pitch. Inside, ball 4. Inning extended.
Look at that location, just a little in. Saw him doing his best to work back there, but a nice eye from Yu. It's a little bit of pressure on the defense, too, to have runners at the corners. Yes, there are 2 outs, but more to navigate now for O'Haron.
A nice eye from Yu, as you could see. Sorry, that's as far as I can go. Well, Rounds has not been an easy out today. Has singled and scored twice. Runners at the corners with 2 out. Off speed, swing and a miss. Nothing in 1. Rounds was first team All-Ivy last year. Heck of a slash line for Harvard. 403, 506, 685 last season. He finished 5th all-time in Harvard's record book with 38 doubles. That's a breaking ball. A little bit of English on it. Nothing in 2.
Good spot going inside, not staying and hanging over the wide of the plate, painting the corner.
Just fouled back.
See the front leg of Rounds. Till he's gotten dirty today. been on base, sliding around.
Hoping for more here at this plate appearance. The 0-2. Fouled off once again. Yu was headed to second, so he'll take his place back at first. Albright right now at third. He reached on a double and fielding error by Brady Reynolds in right. Here's Tyler. The 0-2 to Rounds. Blocked. Done well by Som.
Being a wall back there. Might have got his hand just a little bit, shaking it off. Those can sting too. We talk about the hitters, but sometimes the catchers, with what they're dealing with, they have those moments. That's why they're tough as nails.
Well, and Som just deadened that ball with his body as best as he could. And it worked. Working out the kinks here a little bit, perhaps. Checking the thumb, perhaps. Sure he can still make a throw, at least back to the pitcher's mound.
Especially when it's a little chilly. Definitely doesn't feel well on the hands.
One ball and 2 strikes. Rounds the batter. O'Haron the pitcher. Hit right to net eye at second. That retires the side. Blue Devils get 2 on, but they leave him there. O'Haron pumping his fist and heading back to the Stanford dugout. It remains a 9-5 lead for the Cardinal. Bottom 5th, straight ahead. Duke Blue Devils, a terrific season overall last year with 40 wins. They won the ACC tournament in emphatic fashion in Charlotte. Impressive stuff there. Reached the Norman Regional, but were knocked out by a 4-3 loss to the Oklahoma Sooners. Duke has become one of the better and more competitive ACC baseball programs. Still looking to finally knock on the door and break through it and head off to Omaha. That's the goal. That's where Chris Pollard has this program, where it's actually achievable for Duke. That being said, a bit of a frustrating season for them to this point, as right now they're 12-8 on the year. They have coughed up a 4-0 lead in this one. See Stanford ahead 9-5. Great to have you with us here in the bottom half of the 5th. Troy Clarity and Jenna Becerra. Timo Becerra, no relation, right?
No relation.
At the plate for the Cardinal.
Unless he gets a hit, then we're related, yes.
That's your cousin.
Primo.
Goes down and loops this one into shallow center and beyond the reach of Jake Berger.
Just enough. That one dropped right off the table, but he gets some barrel on it, pushes it out to the outfield. Little bit of no man's land there. Clearly he does want to be related to me.
Well,
take it.
Yeah, he's 2 for 2 today with a walk, a 2-run triple, and now a bit of a bloop single to center field.
That's why they call it a batting average. There'll be another time he hits a screamer right at somebody and it's an out in the books. This one's the hit.
Charlie Bates pushes the bunt foul. Bates 0 for 2. Struck out in the second. Rounded out in the third. Bates helped Palo Alto High School, which is literally just across the street from us here, to back-to-back NorCal titles. Born at Stanford Hospital, right down the street. His granddad, Jim, however, played football at Cal. So that Saturday before Thanksgiving, I'm sure, gets a little bit interesting in the Bates household.
Big game becomes big game.
Yeah. Although Grandpa now has, as of right now, is the bragging rights.
AKA the axe.
Showed bunt. Doesn't go for it. Ball and 1 strike to Bates. Selection Sunday is in progress right now. The Duke Blue Devils are the 1 seed in the East Region brackets. That has just been announced. Quick snap throw back over the first. Becerra in close. Duke with a fantastic season in men's basketball. Cooper Flagg, ACC Player of the Year. He's going to win National Player of the Year honors on several different levels, I'm sure. They will play either American or Mount St. Mary's. Those two are in the first 4. But Duke, the number 1 seed, rightfully so. They've earned it. That is a terrific, terrific team. Cooper Flagg's status, who knows? As he went up for a big rebound the other day and came down, and his ankle's at a 90-degree angle to the rest of his body. That didn't look too good. Breaking ball just misses outside. Count goes to 2 and 2.
You can see Bates just trying to shorten up. He had 2 strikes. He showed the bunt early, but sometimes that's what it helps hitters do. It just helps them shorten up, keep it simple, try to protect the plate. Generally speaking, not trying to do an actual sacrifice with 2 strikes.
Count full to Bates. Payoff pitch. Got him. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So Bates with his second strikeout of the afternoon.
See the movement on that pitch, the location. Really nicely done to get some swing and miss stuff.
Brings up Tatum Marsh. Was hit by a pitch, later came around to score in the 3rd. In fact, his plate appearance in which he was hit by a pitch really got the thing going for Stanford. So it was 4-0 Duke at that time. Marsh leading off the bottom of the 3rd. Was hit by the pitch by Ryan Higgins. That put him on base. And then Trevor Haskins hitting the home run to put Stanford on the board. And the next thing you knew, Cardinal have been hot at the plate since that point. It's going all 9 of its runs over the last 2 innings.
I don't know that we've given Haskins credit for the birthday bomb. It is his birthday today, too, here at Sunken Diamond.
Did not realize that.
Pretty good gift to himself, I'd say.
And to the team. 1-0, runner going. Marsh fouls it off. So happy birthday, Trevor Haskins. There he is. One ball and 1 strike. That one floats in there, 1 and 2. So earlier this year, Trevor celebrated being named ACC Player of the Week by hitting a home run. And today he celebrates his birthday by taking one over the fence. One ball and 2 strikes. The pitch. And this one down the right field line, but twisting into the Stanford bullpen. So again, Duke men's basketball, the number 1 seed in the East Regional. They will take on either American or Mount St. Mary's. And that game will be contested in Raleigh, North Carolina. So it'll be neutral site, technically, for Duke. Actually, they had to travel much further this past week to Charlotte from Durham than they will for their NCAA tournament. Sub-regional games.
Very different from Duke baseball's trip this weekend.
Lined right to Hyde, grabs the ball, tags the bag, and it's a L3 DP. 9-5, Stanford with the lead after 5. Duke trying to get back into it on ACC Network Extra. Well, Stanford trying to bounce back from a tough 2024 season. Of course, they lost 9 players to the Major League Baseball draft in 2023, so they got a lot younger in 24. And for the most part, it looked that way for much of the season, but they played better as the season went along. They knocked Oregon State out of the Pac-12 tournament last season. And so a young team last year is now an experienced team this year. They're first in the ACC. Right now, the Cardinals trying to pull off a sweep over Duke as we head to the 6th inning. Jeff Lugie looks at the pitch high for ball 1.
And that experience last year, going through some adversity, some rebuilding, not something that David Esker said was a surprise. It was known. They knew that they were losing some high-quality talent. At that point, they only returned 30% of innings pitched from 2023 to 2024, whereas you look at this year and they're returning 98% of innings pitched from 2024 to 2025. Just all but 1 game started, so the difference being just some big experience between then and now that has made the difference for the Cardinals so far this year.
Fouled off by Luigi 1 and 2. And that being said, Stanford did still lose a guy from last year's team that went in the first round of the Major League Baseball draft. A terrific catcher in Malcolm Moore.
Yep, 30th overall, drafted by the Rangers. They've had a first-round pick in the program the last 2 seasons, too, after Tommy Troy went 12th with the D-backs the year before, 2023.
On the ground, Nadi's been busy this afternoon at second. 1 away.
I feel like I have written 4-3 quite a bit.
Yep.
That's credit to the Stanford pitchers as well for being able to produce those ground outs.
By my count, 6 ground outs to second for Duke so far this afternoon. Back to the top of the order, Wallace Clark with an RBI double back in the 4th. His second RBI double of this series. And another one on Friday. Torrin O'Haron on the mound, came on after replacing Joey Volchko, the Stanford starter who threw 4 innings. 8 hits, 5 runs all earned, 1 walk and 1 strikeout for Volchko. Yeah, look, you lose 9 guys to the Major League Baseball draft. Yes, your personnel is going to take a bit of a hit no matter what shape your program is in. So some bumps along the way for Stanford last year.
Yeah, only 33% of the at-bats did they return from 23 to 24. Whereas, again, you look at this year, 78% of the at-bats from last year to this year they were able to return. So some of those younger players getting just, again, incredibly important experience, real game reps last year that's paying off now in the longer term. So far.
No balls and 2 strikes. Looper in the air. Now Marsh ranges over after taking a couple steps in. Makes the grab. 2 away.
Get the ground out, get the fly out, producing outs in different types of ways. Also a strikeout on the day for Torrin O'Haron. I think it's nice to see here the Stanford Cardinal, him coming out getting 2 quick outs as well.
Yep.
Obviously gave up the double walk last inning, so settling down, getting a little bit more of a rhythm.
As Berger steps in, RBI double in the 2nd. David Esker is hoping that he looks back at the 2024 season for his team like he looked back at the 2020 season for Stanford. A season that they only played 16 games because of the pandemic, but Stanford went 5-11 that year. Super young. As that one's a looper into foul territory for strike 2. But
and a little bit too loose of a grip there. It's nice to say loose and relaxed, but
But I remember talking with David Esker in May of 2020, and even after that team finished 5-11, he said, look, I've got the guys in the locker room right now that are going to compete for national championships. And he was right. That nucleus that took its lumps in 2020 went to Omaha 3 consecutive years following. So David Esker hoping for similar results this time around. 1 ball and 2 strikes, the count to Berger.
Any coach worth their salt understands that being battle tested early is only going to help you later on. You'd rather take some lumps early on that you can learn through, grow through, that will help pay off later, versus the other way around where you don't really face a ton of adversity, then all of a sudden at the end, when it's really trying, you're in unfamiliar territory.
Or you steamroll through everybody, then you get into the postseason and you get into one adverse situation.
Yes.
And that's it. The next thing you know, you're packing up and you're heading home for good.
Yep. I know David Esker knows well and keeps in touch with the UCLA softball head coach, Kelly Inoue Perez, who actually has a very similar philosophy. They'll play everyone. A very strong strength of schedule early on.
As O'Hara gets Jake Berger looking. 3 up, 3 down for the Blue Devils. And Torrin O'Hara dealing out of the bullpen. Well, Duke took an early 4-0 lead, threatening to spoil Trevor Haskins' birthday, and then Trevor decided to take matters into his own hands.
Seeing the ball really well right now. A 2-run shot to get things going for Stanford offensively, bringing in Marsh. And that really started off the rally that continued throughout that 3rd inning for the Cardinal.
Stanford with 5 in the 3rd, 4 more in the 4th. Right now they lead 9-5 over Duke as James Talon comes in for the Blue Devils. Talon, a junior from Arlington, Virginia. Another lefty. They have a bunch of those on this staff. First order of business for Talon is to retire Trevor Haskins. Goes opposite field and foul. Haskins, a senior. Check out a junior from San Jose.
Plays like a senior.
Plays like a senior. Leads a bit like a senior. Has fun with the squad. And his walk-off RBI single capped off one of the great Stanford baseball games, really of all time, in that regional final a couple years ago against Texas State. Here he sends this one straight into the air. High. Makes the catch on the line.
Not the easiest play to make as an infielder. The corners crash when they see something like that in foul territory, but Hyde covering a lot of ground coming in from first base as well to make that catch. Nicely done, and a nice job coming in, Talon, to produce that for the defense.
Saw Talon in relief earlier in this series, so this is his 2nd appearance this weekend. Brandon Larson with a couple of singles and runs scored, and he mashes this one. Which way is this going to land? On the fair side of the pole. It's gone. It's a home run. Brandon Larson walking the tightrope down the right field foul line, and it's gone for a home run.
He was hesitating at first, wasn't sure what the call was going to be, and then kept going with the home run trot. And he turns on this one with wicked leverage. You can see the explosion there, the transfer of the weight from the back leg to the front. Just inside that foul pole. A fair ball.
And they do reverse it and call it foul. Well, Tyler Albright, the right fielder, was on it right away, pointing and saying, no, that was a foul ball. As I saw it, I thought it landed foul.
To be honest, it seemed like Larson might have as well, because he stopped a little short of first base. He wasn't sure. And I also saw you as well right away throw up foul when he saw it.
So instead, Larson sends this one back up the middle for a base hit. Larson 3 for 4.
Hey, I like that approach. You show off that kind of power, but you don't overswing immediately after. You keep the singles train going. 3 hits, 3 singles for him so far in this one. Hard on the ground up the middle. Textbook.
after the near miss. Here's Rintaro Sasaki, who did not miss the last pitch that he saw. A 3-run home run that gave Stanford an 8-5 lead.
He just missed actually the at-bat before that out in right field.
Yes, he did.
And got a little extra oomph in that 4th inning.
Fouls this one off, 0-1. Everyone who watched Rintaro in batting practice, they all said the same thing. The ball just sounds different coming off of his bat. And when you're here in person, you certainly sense that too.
Can confirm. So many expectations that were placed on him as well, of course. Preseason All-American honors and everything from D1 softball, or baseball, excuse me, to anything else. But David Esker said the way that he's able to manage those expectations so well is because he is so team-oriented. He said he actually loses himself in being a part of the team because he cares about winning the most, more so than any individual accolade or result. And that's what's been keeping him steady so far.
Swing and a miss, got him. A high heat from James Talon. 2 away.
Steady performance from Talon on this one. Goes upstairs to get him chasing. Good location. And right away, Sasaki knew, frustrated with that one.
Well, that's just fighting fire with fire there. Charlie Som, looking for his first base hit of the day, was robbed of a base hit. Terrific play by Ben Miller, a diving play at third. Som from Thousand Oaks, California. Had his 2023 season cut short due to injuries. Brother Jake played for UCLA.
It's in my backyard.
I was about to say, Thousand Oaks, that's your neck of the woods, isn't
it? Yeah, the 805.
Off speed, swing and a miss. Talon from the 703. No balls, 2 strikes. Larson, safe, as the ball just trickled away from Berger. Let's see if that comes back to haunt Duke here.
You take a look, that ball up like that, actually perfectly placed to get a throw off if you're you. But sticking with it, diving in head first, the tag, trying to apply it, but the ball comes out.
And that's a strikeout as Som goes down swinging. 9-5, Stanford with the lead after 6 as the Cardinal trying to break out the brooms on the Blue Devils. Well, small sample size, but this promises to be a superbly intriguing season of ACC baseball. Stanford doing its part, knocking off then 4th-ranked North Carolina, making an impression in its first ever ACC series. Meanwhile, Virginia was picked to win the ACC preseason poll, lost an opening ACC series to Boston College. So a bit topsy-turvy from that respect. This promises to be an incredibly fun season, one that will make history, no matter what happens.
The Cavaliers were ranked 2nd in the preseason poll nationally coming into this season.
Here's Ben Miller, looks at a high strike from O'Haron.
But all ACC teams being in action this weekend, that's what's going to tell us, right? When we see the games, when the games actually unfold between the white lines, what goes down and what it looks like at the end of the conference slate.
Haskins backhands it, but in foul territory. ACC baseball, a 16-team league. No Syracuse, no SMU, which somewhat surprises me. that SMU does not have a baseball team.
Yeah, no, neither diamond sport for SMU.
No balls and 2 strikes. This is down low, 1-2 to Miller, doubled in the first and made a gorgeous diving stab at fourth to get Charlie Somm and rob him of a base hit. The 1-2 pitch, off the fist, fouled off. Duke will head up to Charlottesville this upcoming weekend. Try to get right on the road there.
Yeah, tough back-to-back weekends on the road. A ranked Stanford team, then going to Virginia immediately after. Meanwhile, Stanford gets to host Duke and Cal.
The high heat from O'Hare. Foul tip into the glove. Strike 3.
High heat is right. Going upstairs, getting him to chase. Hanging on to it once again on that foul tip is Somm.
Now that just kind of cut in on Miller, too.
Yep.
Jake Hyde at the plate. Pitch taken outside for ball 1. It's going to be fascinating to see what happens in the conference, up and down. It's going to be a new experience, certainly for those of us who are used to looking at polls and automatically looking at the Pac-12 teams and seeing where they are. I kind of have to retrain my eyes to look for the Florida States and the North Carolinas and the Clemsons and the Dukes and those folks now. New itineraries, new experiences. And certainly the ACC has more than held its own on a national scale over the years as a baseball conference. And adding both Stanford and Cal, which have both had terrific histories and have had terrific seasons, especially Stanford of late, only makes it even more fun. 2-1, the count now to Hyde.
I asked David Esker in terms of logistics and sort of the operational side of doing more of that travel over to the East Coast, and he said they do talk a little bit with some of the fall and winter sports and what their experience have been here at Stanford, getting to know some of the other programs, but also that some of it's just going to be new, and that's okay. They're figuring out if do they want to stay on West Coast time, on the East Coast, how do they want to handle it, but recovery definitely a top priority across all the sports actually at Stanford, and I'd imagine Cal as well.
Yep. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Hyde. Just nubs it as it trickles towards the Stanford dugout, and the count stays at 2-2. I can certainly confirm with Stanford men's basketball and the trips they've had to make back east, and they're certainly taking notes. They overall like how they've handled their travel itineraries as the team has been leaving on Mondays and then coming back as soon as they possibly can. They might tweak a couple things next year, but by and large, it's been a positive experience for them. 2-2. Got it. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Back-to-back-to-back Ks by Torin O'Hare.
Next, right fielder, Tyler Albright.
4 on the day so far, and this one is placed beautifully inside, about a ball off the plate. Perfect location for a pitcher's count.
Brings up Tyler Albright. RBI single in the first. Doubled. And reached third on a fielding error by Brady Reynolds in right. That was back in the 5th. Tyler Albright, his uncle Ethan had a 16-year career in the NFL as a long snapper. He actually spent much of his career with the Washington football team, was a Pro Bowler in the 2008 season. And he had super fiery red hair. So, of course, his nickname was the Red Snapper.
Nicknames are the best. And you have teammates who don't really call you by your real name ever again. They just stick with some of the nicknames for life.
See him at reunions.
Yes.
High and tight a little bit, now the count 3-0 on Albright. Outside of that double by Albright, O'Haron has not allowed much. And now 2 2/3 innings worth of work. Plops that one in there, 3-1.
Yeah, only 2 base runners. That double, of course, as you mentioned, and the walk to you back in the 5th. But other than that, very solid.
The 3-1 pitch. Fouled back. 3-2.
In terms of some of the ACC adjustments too, especially for the West Coast teams, one thing that you'll notice is that the preseason schedules are a lot more West Coast based to sort of make up for that. So Stanford, for example, hosting UW Xavier in 4-game series. They went to Fullerton to open up the season, so that's just right down in Southern California. So definitely keeping that in mind as well as you build out the whole season.
Popped up, perhaps playable. Sasaki with a long way to go has the best chance at it, but it falls just into the right field grassy knoll area, so we'll do it all over again at 3-2. And because there was also such a relatively short ramp-up time between the start of the season and the beginning of ACC play, which for Stanford and for a few other teams began last week, Stanford played 4-game series.
Yes.
Against Cal State Fullerton and Washington and Xavier.
Yes. Hard to face the same team 3 times, let alone 4 times. That's what made those sweeps against Fullerton and Washington so impressive.
Popped up again. This one will land out of play. So it's all about adjustments. You know, everyone's having to go through it. And by and large, look, is it ideal? No, it's not. Plane flights are longer. It's more missed time away from class, and on this campus, class is a thing for everyone. And again, it's not ideal, but all the programs here at Stanford, and to my knowledge at Cal as well, have made the most of it, and have made the best of it.
Yeah, actually, most head coaches I've spoken with across sports have enjoyed their experience in the ACC, figuring out logistics, but overall.
In the shallow center, but the snow cone grab by Charlie Bates to retire the side. Bates had eyes on that one the whole way, and he makes the shoe top catch, preserving Stanford's 9-5 lead. Time to stand and stretch, or for Charlie Bates, reach. Good crowd and a young crowd here at Sunken Diamond, and they've been treated to a pretty entertaining ball game to this point. Bottom of the 7th inning about to begin. Stanford leading Duke 9-5. Troy Clarity and Jenna Becerra here with you. As Duke went out to an early 4-0 lead, took that advantage to the bottom of the 3rd, but that's when Stanford got busy, taking a 5-4 lead. Duke tied it again, top 4th. And then Stanford exploding for 4 more in the bottom of the 4th. That's where we are right now with Owen Proch on the mound now for the Blue Devils. Proch, a junior from Southlake, Texas, making his first appearance in this series. He had a 6-out save against Northwestern back on March the 1st. With a walk and 3 strikeouts along the way. So Talon throws an inning of relief, strikes out 1, does give up a base hit along the way. Jimmy Natai at the plate. 6th different pitcher for Duke today. Higgins, Hart, Nard, Calvert, Talon, and now Proch.
Sort of been oscillating between lefties and righties as well, forcing the Stanford bats to make some adjustments. Haven't scored since that 4th inning.
The pitch goes down low, 1-1. To Jimmy Natai, who homered in his last plate appearance back in the 4th. Natai from Sydney, Australia, was born there. but moved to Atlanta as a youngster, and that's actually where he began playing baseball during his days living in Atlanta.
He's got one of the more clever walk-up songs for this Stanford group.
Not bad.
Land Down Under.
Men at work. You go around, up with a foul tip into the glove. That's strike 3. So we've reached the strikeout portion of the program. As back-to-back Stanford batters have now gone down on strikes.
Gets a small piece of this, but able to hold on to it is you back there. You can see Nat-Eye taking a look back to see, oh, did he hold on to it or do I have another life? But a nice start there by Proch.
Brady Reynolds, the batter, reaches out and puts that one just down the line. Fair ball. Reynolds hustles and slides in with the double.
Reynolds with some quick work here. Sees one, drives one. The lefty going opposite way. Keeping it fair just inside that left field line. Able to get into scoring position right away here for 7, 8, 9 coming up.
Beginning with Timo Becerra. 2-run triple in the 3rd, singled in the 5th. So walked in the 2nd. Breaking ball goes over for a called strike 1 from Owen Proch. Duke played 2 against George Mason midweek before hopping on the plane and coming out this way. And took both games against George Mason. Snagged at 2nd, and that's the only play that he can make. Berger on the spot.
Great grab here by the second baseman coming over to make the catch, but some nice base running too to get back by Reynolds, so he's not doubled up. Shifted a little bit.
Charlie Bates, accompanied by Blue Oyster Cult on his way up to the plate. Looks at the breaking ball going over for a called strike 1. Bates looking for his first base hit of the day. Made a nice play to end the top half of the 7th. A running grab in center. She had to reach down to around knee high, shin high perhaps. Chases that one, 0-2. Bates doesn't chase that one, holds up. Don't mind me, I'm just kind of taking a look at the bracket right now.
Well, it is March Madness.
It's here. It is here. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Firing a fastball that misses a bit low. Everything's out. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Charlie Bates. See, Louisville is an 8 seed in the South region. They'll be facing 9 seed Creighton and Lexington. So, much like Duke, playing its games in Raleigh is neutral site in name only. Louisville playing in Lexington right down the road is also neutral site in name only. Louisville played a NCAA tournament game in Lexington in 2007. They beat Stanford by 20 that day. 2-2. Just got in front of it, and it rolls foul.
For Duke baseball, you mentioned the midweek games that they played as well. Tuesday, Wednesday, before making the trip out here. That's a long week. That's a long time. And a lot of games in a short window. 5 games in 6 days to have that sustained focus that you need to have to compete at a high level.
With a couple of long plane rides in between.
Yes.
Roach was looking for the high strike, doesn't get it. 3-2.
play on Wednesday, then at home, then fly out here, get here Thursday, be able to get some reps in, and then you're playing Friday. It's all very, very quick.
Three-two pitch, hit to center. Coming up, Gracia, but it drops down for a base hit. Reynolds was running the whole way, and he scores and gives Stanford a 10-5 lead.
Just enough to get it past the infield, but it falls right into place for the Cardinal. But having 2 outs will help you run in the base pass. Reynolds takes off right away, no hesitation. Double digits now for the Cardinal.
Brings up Tatum Marsh, who is 0 for 2 so far today. Seventh time this season that Stanford has scored in double digits this year. Marsh lined into a double play at first to end the 5th. Pops this one. Well, foul. Approach quickly ahead in the count. No, nothing in 2. I see Clemson is a 5 seed in the Midwest region. They'll face 12 seed McNeese in Providence. One ball and 2 strikes. Runner going. And this one is launched to left, to the corner, has a beat on it and makes the catch in foul ground for the out. RBI single by Charlie Bates, however, and the Cardinal are now doubling up the Blue Devils. 10-5 Stanford after 7. Duke bats were hot early in this game, but Stanford pitchers have turned the Blue Devils ice cold.
O'Haron coming in as a reliever in a solid position here. 4 strikeouts in his 3 innings pitched, just allowed 1 hit, 1 walk, no runs coming across when he was on the bump.
As the bullpen, which has continued to be a strength for Stanford so far this year, proves its worth once again here this afternoon. Ty Uber will try to keep it going. He is the senior from Cameron Park, California, which is also just outside of Sacramento. Uber missed all of 2024 with injury, and that injury was well felt in the Stanford bullpen as there were some struggles on that side of things. When he appeared at Cal State Fullerton and got the save in the second game of the doubleheader on February 15th. That was the first game he had pitched in almost 2 years. Stanford very happy to have Ty Uber back in the mix. A.J. Gracia tripled in the first, singled in the third. To strike 1.
When I asked David Esker about what were his takeaways early in the season, especially after the first couple of weekends, he said the bullpen has been strong. That's something that he mentioned right away, said some good starts each weekend, but also the stabilizing part early on in that 8-0 start that Stanford had been the bullpen. It wasn't a surprise. They expected to have options, and at that point there were even a few options they hadn't used yet. So definitely a strength for Stanford this season.
As the count goes to 2-1 on Gracia. Ty Uber, 6'4", 249, so he's got some size to him. Laser foul, 2-2. And there are certainly other guys that, for Stanford, that we haven't seen so far this weekend.
Yep.
Sam Garwal out of the pen, transfer from Northwestern. Clapped back to Uber. One gun. A couple other freshmen. Cohen Gomez out of the pen. J.J. Moran, who David Esker says, this kid's going to be a star at Stanford. It's not a question of if, but when. Moran, an infielder who's played sparingly, does have one career hit. That came against Xavier a couple weeks ago. But certainly plenty of other options that haven't necessarily had the opportunity to present themselves so far for Stanford this year. Here's Andrew Yu. Opposite field, fouled off.
Well, some efficient appearances from Stanford pitchers this weekend in general. Of course, we've talked a lot about the hitting. How can you not? 11 runs yesterday, 10 today, 5 on day one. But, 3 pitchers got it done with Scott, Moore, and Keenan on Friday, and then Lim and Speciak combined yesterday. And then just the third pitcher we've seen today with Ty Uber between Volchko and O'Haron having some solid innings, 4 and 3 respectively. So something, again, Stanford's going to be able to rely on.
That was a nasty slider by Uber. Yeah. Yu goes around. Sam with the putout, 2 away. Brings up Ben Rounds. Singled twice and has scored twice. Charlie Sam says, all right, let's keep it going. Ben Rounds says, hey, let's try to extend the inning here. Goes around for strike 1.
All 3 Stanford pitchers have recorded at least 1 strikeout now in this game after that last one from Uber, his first. Volchko with the 1, of course. O'Haron, we mentioned, had 4. Just a couple of walks combined between all 3 of them so far as well. So just, again, pretty efficient.
Well, and Stanford has not had to dig too deep into its bullpen. This is just their 3rd pitcher here today. They only used 2 yesterday. Christian Lim and Ryan Speciak. Hit to center. Bates can't make the diving grab. And it rolls behind him to the track, backed up by Marsh. Rounds is safe at second.
Finds the spot, finds the gap in the outfield. Great effort there from Bates in center. A nice 2-bagger there. Trying to get a 2-out rally going as he comes around to second base.
And he hits the jump shot along the way. Jeff Luigi looking for his first base hit of the day. Fastball low and inside for ball 1. I found out something really random and really cool the other day as I was making my way back from the ACC tournament in Charlotte, and I had a layover in Houston, and I was texting with an old high school friend. And apparently, I did not realize this, as this is hit to center field. Bates and Reynolds. It's Bates who makes the grab for out number 3. I will leave you all in complete and total suspense on the amazing and random thing I found out, and I'll let you know what it is on the other side. 10-5, Stanford leading Duke, bottom 8 in just a moment. Bottom of the 8th, top of the order for Stanford. The Cardinal leading the Blue Devils 10-5. Troy Clarity, Jenna Becerra, glad that you are here with us on ACC Network Extra, the series finale between Stanford and Duke. Stanford trying to perhaps extend its lead and ensure itself of a sweep of the Duke Blue Devils. Here on the West Coast, a rare trip out this way for the Blue Devils. Haskins has had a big day, and not just because it's his birthday. He had a 2-run home run in the third that put the Cardinal on the board. Eventually led to a 5-run bottom half of the third. He smacks this one right to second, handled by Berger, and throws over to first in time for the out. Well, what I was about to reveal before I was so rudely interrupted by Jeff Lugi's fly out to center to end the previous half inning. Flying back from Charlotte, had a layover in Houston from the ACC tournament, and I was texting with an old high school friend of mine, and she revealed that one of our friends, she's better friends with her than with me, but certainly, you know, we know each other well. But our high school friend Alexis is the aunt of one Con Knipple, a terrific small forward for Duke. So that's pretty cool. I was like, oh wait, I wish I'd have known that last month before heading out to Durham. That would be kind of cool.
See, the ACC ties run deep.
Exactly. Who knew? Brandon Larson looks at ball one. As the count evens out at 1 apiece to him. Larson with 3 singles this afternoon.
The home run that turned into a single last time.
Yes. A ball that was hit down the right field line and was initially called a home run, but was later a reverse. And Brandon said, okay, that's cool. And he just smacked the next pitch he saw right in the center field for a base hit. A 1-2. Got him. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Some increased velocity on that last pitch from Proksch. You can see it's right down Main Street. It blew it past him.
All right, here we go. Ritaro Sasaki coming to the plate. Sasaki's 3-run home run, putting Stanford back in the lead. A lead that to this point it is not relinquished. That was back in the 4th inning. Might have slipped out of Proksch's hand. 6th different pitcher for Duke this afternoon. The exact opposite of how Stanford has been able to handle its pitching staff this weekend. One ball, no strikes. And that one eats up Berger at second. Positioned perfectly, but just too much velocity on that base hit.
That ball was hit hard. He absolutely turns on it, smashes it. It comes up high over there at second base on Berger. Would have been an extremely tough play, especially because he's in the grass at that point. So more time for it to come up even higher on you. Nothing he could really do there.
Boy, Duke's best laid plans laid to waste by Sasaki and that power that he has.
Even the singles come off the bat and sound a little bit different. Swing and a miss by Charlie Som on the high heat from Proksch. Som has struck out a couple of times this afternoon. It's blocked by Yu. 1 ball and 1 strike to Som. What is that on Som's left? On his left bicep there? Chuck Nasty? Is that his nickname? Is that his nickname? We were talking about nicknames earlier in the show. Sounds about right.
Swings and misses.
Chuck.
Ball and 2 strikes.
Charlie. Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. There it is.
Yep.
And not nasty. Nasty.
Yeah, not a Stanford S. The Z. Add a little Riz to it.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. That was nasty pitching by Proksch. Comes down to this for Duke as the Cardinal are ahead 10-5. Clark, Berger, Miller, 2 up for the Devils. Duke head coach Chris Pollard hoping to find a way to extend this game. Comes down to this top half of the 9th inning. He's got the 1-2-3 batters in his order to try to do something about Stanford's 10-5 lead here Chris Pollard, previously the head coach at Appalachian State. Also played for the Salinas Peppers in the Western League back in the mid-90s. Salinas about 75 miles south of here. Just hop on 101 and you'll get there. Probably about an hour and a half or so, depending upon traffic. Wallace Clark with an RBI double in the 4th. Looks at the fastball down low for ball 1. Volchko through the first 4 innings for Stanford with mixed results. Torrin O'Haron with 3 solid innings in relief. Popped straight up into the flannel gray sky. Nat-eye makes the catch.
Nice way to set the tone here in the 9th by Ty Huber.
Jake Berger steps up, walked in the 1st, RBI double in the 2nd, struck out in the 4th. Check that, grounded out in the 4th, struck out in the 6th. Hit to right center. Reynolds has a beat on it and makes the catch for the 2nd out.
Well, Ty Huber trying to make this a quick one here in the top of the 9th, getting 2 quick outs, both in the air. Again, you feel confident in your defense. Your offense has helped give you some of that confidence with the 10 spot.
Well, here's Ben Miller, who has been quiet from a home run standpoint in this series. Had 10 coming in. Tied for 2nd in all of Division I entering the weekend. I've been thinking about hitting number 11 there with that hack, swing and a miss.
Miller was ranked by D1 Baseball as the number 3 third baseman in the country coming into this season. Seen him make some nice plays over there in the hot corner.
Yep. Duke down to his final strike. Nothing in 2. The pitch from Huber. Lifted to left. Staying in the park. Marsh comes up. Makes the catch. That's your ball game. And the Stanford Cardinal break out the brooms on the Blue Devils. The final score here today, 18th ranked Stanford 10, Duke 5. Duke scored the first 4 runs of this game, but then Stanford exploded for 5 in the bottom of the 3rd, and then 4 more in the bottom of the 4th. A 3-run home run by Rintaro Sasaki in that bottom half of the 4th, putting Stanford ahead to stay. As the Cardinal take all 3 games of this series, they've now won 4 straight. They're now 15-3 on the year, 5-1 in the ACC. Duke now falls to 12-9, 2-4 in ACC play.
First ever ACC series sweep for the Cardinal, and the first ever series period in the ACC for them here at Sunken Diamond. And what a great performance. Back-to-back games with 12 hits as a squad as well, and the home runs, 5 yesterday, a few here today as well. But then you got to give credit to the pitchers too. Volchko with a nice 4 innings to hand it off to O'Haron, and then Ty Huber doing a nice job closing things up, and just some clean baseball in all 3 major aspects of the game from this Stanford team.
Yeah, O'Haron and Huber in particular, lights out on the mound. The Stanford bullpen, which has done terrific work for much of the season, putting a smile on David Esker's face, getting the job done once again here this afternoon. Oh, and it also doesn't hurt when you get big performances from your biggest bats along the way. Rintaro Sasaki with the home run today, his 3rd now over the last 2 games, and his giving him 3 on the season. Also, Jimmy Natite going deep. Trevor Haskins going deep to start things off along as well, as Stanford able to do what it does best. You might score on them early, but Stanford turns right around. They put up a couple of crooked numbers themselves. The next thing you know, their bullpen is in there, getting it done and shutting you down.
And it's not just the hits, it's the timeliness of those hits that's been solid for the Cardinal. 3 players for Stanford having multi-RBI games. Haskins and Sasaki actually both tied for the team lead with 22 RBIs on the season now so far, after 2 for Haskins today with that home run, and then Sasaki getting 3 as well.
Well, let's head down to the Stanford dugout and chat with, am I hearing this right? The birthday boy himself, Trevor Haskins, is joining us now from the Stanford dugout. Trevor, first off, happy birthday, and what a nice present, smacking the home run to put the Cardinal on the board. Take us through that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, birthday. Yeah, definitely old now. Officially old.
You're not there yet, my man. Trust me.
That swing felt good. Wasn't trying to do too much. Was just trying to be a leadoff and get on for the boys. Let the guys behind me do their thing. Let Rentaro do what he's been doing all weekend.
The birthday bombs hit a little bit differently, that's for sure. But the message that this team is sending so far in the ACC, a 5-1 start, of course, the series win on the road at North Carolina, but now the sweep here at home against Duke. What does that message look like to you guys moving forward in this conference?
I think it's a testament to what we've been doing, how we've been working the past year. Like this with the ACC change, we knew what we were getting into. We knew we were going to go face good competition. Not trying to get outside ourselves and just bring our game to the ACC. We got the pitching, we got the offense, we got the defense behind them. When you put that all together, you see baseball like you've seen the past few weeks. So just trying to keep that going, just trying to play our game and keep competing.
The offense takes top billing on this team, and rightfully so. This squad has done some terrific things in that respect. Rentaro's gotten hot, and that's a pretty good thing for Stanford. But shout out to the bullpen and what those guys have done, not just today behind Torin O'Haron and Ty Uber, but really all season long. How critical have they been to Stanford's success this season?
Oh my God, the bullpen's been huge, right? We got dogs in the pen. They come out, everybody in the field has a good feeling behind them. So on defense, we're just trying to make plays behind them and let them do what they know how to do, because those guys are stellar right there.
And when it comes to being in the locker room, being in the dugout, what do you think the X factors are for this Stanford team in terms of the culture and the energy that you all bring together?
I think you said it right. The culture, the energy, the brotherhood, the family, it's like no other. These guys, I have 35 brothers or whatever the number is right there, and I would consider each one of them, my family, and I think that's special right there. You don't get that too often, and so I think it carries its way onto the field, and I'm super appreciative of it.
Real quick, Trevor, as we wrap this up, when Rentaro Sasaki starts hitting balls over the fence, how much more dangerous is this team as now he has 3 over his last 2 games?
A lot more dangerous. You guys saw what he could do this weekend, and we all been waiting for it. It's just about getting that first one out of the way. We said once you get that first one out of the way, they're going to start piling in, and that's what we're seeing now. We got 5 coming next weekend from him.
Yeah, well, we've seen what you can do really all season long with your 6th home run of the season today. Congrats on the win. Best of luck and best of health going forward.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Trevor Haskins, the birthday boy, with the 2-run shot that put Stanford on the board, and Rentaro Sasaki's 3-run shot in the 4th put Stanford ahead to stay. Put it together, it's a 10-5 win for the Cardinal. Duke back on the road next week as they head up to Virginia, while Stanford hosts Cal at Sunken Diamond this upcoming weekend. On behalf of our fantastic ACC Network Extra crew and my broadcast partner, Jenna Becerra, I'm Troy Claire. Thank you so much for joining us from Sunken Diamond here today. Stanford 10, Duke 5. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane, and accomplish greatness.